They say you shouldn't mix work and play, but I just got the brand new AMD powered ROG Flow Z13, and this thing is supposed to be a gaming monster. So, okay, I've never told you this, but I have a boss. His name is Nick. He's super strict with this content stuff. Ah, good. You got the new computer. Now look, you're gonna have to download Ableton Live, all your plugins. Is that Steam? Yeah, I'm downloading Cyberpunk right now. This thing has an AMD AI Max Plus 395 processor. This is AMD's latest high-end mobile processor. So I thought No. This is a music production channel. People want to see gear. They want production tips. It's not every day we get a new laptop, so use this thing to make some music. All right, but if I finish a track with this thing, then we can play some games. Get the track done and we'll talk. So I got to work. To avoid any distractions, I completely emptied my studio and put together this minimal setup. The mini desk is by Wavebone. I've got the Unit 4 speakers by III, wireless but low latency, and the tried and true Launch Key Mini. I've already downloaded Ableton Live to the Z13, but I'm gonna download a bunch of Arturia and Native Instruments plugins so we can put the performance to the test. While those plugins download, let's take a closer look at the Z13. This thing has a cool, sleek, almost cyberpunk-esque design with an illuminated window on the back for a pretty cool view of the main board. Did you say cyberpunk? I told you no games. I'm literally talking about the design. Oh. Continue. Vents are on the top, and there's two USB-C ports, the HDMI port and power, as well as a micro SD card slot on one side, with a headphone jack, USB-A port, multifunction button, volume rocker, and power button on the other side. The keyboard is completely detachable via these magnetic connectors at the bottom, giving us a fully functioning touchscreen experience that can be used vertically or horizontally. And the built-in kickstand gives you a wide array of viewing positions. We'll talk more about performance in a bit, but the sooner we get to making music with this thing, the sooner we can get to playing some games. I'm starting with the sound from Pigment 6 to get a little melody going. The sound utilizes both the new modal engine in Pigment 6, which actually has a little bit of a granular aspect to it, and also a sample layer which creates a really rich tone. If we layer that with some piano, I think it'll sound great, but to keep with this ethereal tone, I'm going to use a specific piano, the Noir piano from Native Instruments, which is not just a piano, it has this sort of bubbly, granular aspect to it. Of course, I always love using vocals or vocal samples, so I've put this vocal sample into Granulator 3. If you're sensing some theme of constantly using a bunch of granular stuff, well, first of all, granular just sounds dope, you should use it more. But second of all, it's also one of the more taxing kinds of synthesis for a computer usually. But we're having no issues running this session at a 256 buffer sample size, which means we can play in real time with no latency, and obviously the audio is coming in nice and clean. Look, we're getting tons of questions. How do I break out of the loop? How do I make a full song? I'm literally shooting right now. You can't just interrupt. All right. Sensitive artsy types. Okay, if you're stuck in the loop, literally just do this. On the timeline, highlight and copy your loop. Now skip 16 bars in your project and paste that loop in. Now you basically have a song, but with a 16-bar gap in the middle. Use some of the sounds that you already have and possibly introduce a new sound and write new music in that 16 bars. Keep it in the same key, but contrast the previous section. So for my B section, I tried to create a darker tone, a slightly harder feel, and dropped in a few new vocal samples. And once we build up tension over that 16-bar gap, we're back to the original loop, which feels super satisfying now that we took a diversion through that B section. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'll arrange these loops later. No, just try to get at least a rough timeline sketched out before you wrap up that first writing session. All right, it's a bit later in the evening now, but we've got this song pretty much fully structured out. I mean, we're only at about 13 tracks. CPU's hovering. Let's see, let's play. At full blast, 47% on the CPU, but we're not getting any pops or glitches or anything like that. Man, this feels cool to just be able to hold my live set like this. Can we do this? Oh gosh, it works. It was late in the evening, my track was fully arranged. There was only one thing standing between me and some late night gaming, utilizing the Z13's integrated GPU featuring 40 GPU compute units, the most powerful iGPU on the market. Hey, what did I say? No games until the track is done. But it's basically done. Look at this timeline. Where's the automation? Where's the transition effects? What about the LUFs, dude? I can get all that done tomorrow. Then get your rest. That's a lot of work. Fine, but I can barely work around here with you breathing down my neck. Perfect. Go out of the house. Go to a cafe, finish the track, show off the mobility, show off the touchscreen. Oh, speaking of, I got you this. Thanks. I noticed those big caveman hands of yours struggling with some of the touch controls. The boss gave me this really cheap stylus. I wasn't having too many issues with the touch screen at all, but for some of the smaller parameters in Ableton Live, I found it a little hard to see around my finger. So let's give the cheap stylus a try. How far can I get with using Ableton Live just with the touchscreen? There is actually a pen tablet mode in Ableton Live's preferences. So between these caveman hands and this cheap stylus, let's see what we can get done. This is the stage of music making I like to call the bells and whistles. It's when you add some transition effects, some automation, maybe a little ear candy. It's one step beyond just writing the music, and it can really elevate your track. A plugin I love for this is called Transit 2 by Baby Audio. Great for transitions, but also cool for just unique sound design moments. I was at the cafe for a bit over 2 hours and got a bunch of automation, mixing, and EQing work done entirely with the touchscreen. Dragging and dropping devices, moving around EQ bands or faders, that's all easy to do with a touchscreen. There's some finicky stuff where you can tell that Live is obviously not designed first with touchscreens in mind, like trying to make tracks bigger. Sometimes there's just not enough space for the software to know what you're trying to click on. And of course, you lose your ability to use these quick key commands. Command Z is like my best friend, and then just being able to click on a clip or a section and press delete and have it go away, like you can't do that. You kind of have to use the right click method, touch and hold something, find the delete button in the menu. So there's some things where obviously keyboard and mouse is going to get you a lot further, a lot faster, but there are other things where just reaching up and touching the screen feels natural. So I'm all for this hybrid approach of using the detachable keyboard and making use of the touchscreen when it feels most natural. Another cool thing to point out is that you have full control over the fans. They're not even too loud with this full project playing, but if you need that pure silence, you can just switch it over to silent mode. How did it go at the cafe? Good. Did you get a matching stylus? What do you think you're doing? Dude, chill. I'm going to use it to finish the track. So, no games? You just trust me for once? All right. You're the artist. To be completely honest with you all, I thought it was game time, but now I had to figure out how to use this PS5 controller as a MIDI controller. But I found an artist called Sidebrain who actually designed a Max for Live device that does exactly that. And I was up and running in no time. I mapped it to some performance effects, and then would make a great soundtrack for some... Go ahead, kid. You earned it. Wrap it up. We gotta juice these views. You gotta unbox another MPK.